She was fast enough to adjust herself, and she acted like she was just serving the kids' meal on their tables. Z opened her food and she was eating, not noticing that her food was tampered with. As Z ate her food, Abebi sighed in relief. And the kids offered her their meals as usual, and she accepted, eating from one child to another. Her colleagues looking at her and shaking their heads. Abebi was jovial and had a voice that could charm anyone. The kids loved her, and the parents also believed she was the most caring teacher on the planet. The parents couldn't stop talking about her. But this her gluttony ways always leaves her colleagues speechless. Miss Temi and Miss Nkem decided to speak to her. And Miss Temi said, "I don't think it is right accepting food and snacks from these kids. It is not right." And Miss Nkem replied, "I don't think it is right either. They offer us too, and we decline." And Miss Abebi replied, "You know how these kids are, and you know these kids love me. They will cry whenever I decline." And Miss Nkem replied by saying, "I decline every time, and it's never a big deal." And Miss Abebi said, "Thank you for the advice." When they left, Abebi eased and said, "Is it my fault that the kids don't offer you goodies as much as they offer me? Jealous people." And she eased. Abebi's habit started small, just a nibble here and there. It was harmless, really, at first. But at this point, she couldn't help herself. She would walk past the children's lunch table, lean down, and sneak a bite. Would giggle and say, "This stew is delicious. You must have a wonderful mommy at home." And all the kids would laugh. The kids loved it, but her colleague knew it was wrong. Kids would chorus, Miss Abebi, my stew is also delicious. Have a taste, Miss Abebi." However, what seemed like an innocent quirk soon became a disturbing pattern. Miss Abebi, who was supposed to be monitoring the children during lunchtime, was instead taking full advantage of their lunch boxes. At this point, it wasn't just one or two bites from different plates. It was a whole portion of rice, chicken and fried plantain vanishing from their lunch plates. The children started to notice. Little Chijioke, who loved his jollof rice, began crying when he found his lunch missing, and little Mary, who always looked forward to enjoying the sandwiches her mother made for her. She looked around in confusion. When she couldn't find them, she would question Miss Abebi, and Miss Abebi would just smile and pat them on the back and say, "Don't cry." It wasn't long before the parents began to hear whispers. Miss Abebi had a reputation among the teachers for being particularly fond of food, but most of them didn't know it was to this extent. Adana, whose both parents, Mr. and Mrs. Agbo, were bankers, they leave her to the care of their trusted nanny. And later, her nanny resigned, and they were desperate for a replacement. That was how they found this new nanny, whose name was Iyabo. Iyabo was cruel. She would treat Adana so badly. Even with Mrs. Agbo's busy schedule, she still finds time to pack Adana's school lunch. One day, the evil nanny Iyabo added drops of sniper into Adana's lunch. When it was lunchtime, Adana had her lunch and Miss Abebi had the most portion. A few minutes later, Adana started complaining of stomach pain. The stomach pain became intense and Miss Ikem rushed her to the school hospital. Thankfully, the school hospital was a standard one. They sprung into action and did all the necessary things they could to stabilize her. Finally, she became better and they realized it was food poisoning. A few hours later, Miss Abebi was also rushed to the school hospital where they also discovered it was also food poisoning. It took her a while before she was stable. When she was conscious, they asked her what she ate. She said she can't remember eating anything different. Back at Mrs. Agbo's residence, she was worried, and so she decided to play back all the CCTV clips, and she discovered where Iyabo was pouring an unknown liquid in her child's food. She also played back other old clips and she realized how badly Iyabo has been treating Hadana. Iyabo was arrested and also she faced charges in court. Miss Abebi recovered and resumed work. You would think that Abebi had learned her lessons. A glutton will always be a glutton, they say. Rumor was flying around about Miss Abebi eating the kids' lunch because it was clear that was why she had the same kind of food poisoning with her pupil. Because the head teacher, Mrs. Okafor, really trusted Miss Abebi, she was in denial and claimed it was mere coincidence. But she started checking the CCTV camera often, but she noticed one thing. She noticed that Miss Abebi would rather stay at the blind spot of the class during lunchtime, which was a bit suspicious. So she secretly instructed that an unnoticeable micro camera be fixed at all blind spots in the classroom. On that fateful day, Mrs. Abebi went to the blind spot as usual, unknown to her that she has been monitored. She finished Bayo's food without leaving anything for him. Miss Nkem was busy with the kids outside. She monitors the kids as they wash their hands after lunch. The other teacher, Miss Temi, she turned and saw Bayo weeping seriously. She immediately cited Miss Abebi doing what she knows how to do best. And Miss Temi screamed, "And no, this is unacceptable, Mrs. Abebi. This has to stop." And she rushed to the head teacher's office. She rushed out angrily. She couldn't take it anymore. She narrated everything to the head teacher. Mrs. Okafor, she immediately went to the surveillance camera and she saw everything. Miss Abebi, back in the classroom, she had too much confidence that she could never be caught red-handed. And she said, "I'm too smart for that." Mrs. Okafor thanked Mrs. Temi for reporting Miss Abebi. Miss Okafor said to Miss Temi, "I don't care how long she has been doing it, and I don't care how long you've been aware of it. I'm glad you reported her, even before I saw the clips. If it was the other way around, trust me, you and Miss Nkem would have been punished with her." Mrs. Okafor waited till it was the close of the day before she called Miss Abebi. Mrs. Esther, who was Bayo's mother, a successful businesswoman, who was always particular about what her son ate. She packed him nutritious meal every day, and that morning she had packed extra portion, some spicy goat's meat, stew with rice, fried plantain, and a refreshing glass of fruit juice. When she picked up Bayo up that afternoon from school, she noticed he seemed unusually quiet. Concerned, she asked him what was wrong, and Bayo said, "Mommy, my food was gone." Bayo sniffed, holding back tears. Miss Abebi ate it all. Mrs. Abiola's heart sank. But when Mrs. Abiola opened her son's lunchbox, there was nothing left. No rice, no stew, not even the fruit juice. The containers were spotless, like they'd been licked clean. She was livid, and she said, "I'm paying for my son to receive an education, not to be used as a buffet," she said, barely able to contain her anger. "This is unacceptable." As she was expressing her anger to her son Bayo, she received a call from the head teacher, asking if she could see her. And she replied, "Mrs. Okafor, you called at the perfect time." And she angrily went to the head teacher's office. Miss Abebi was already there at the head teacher's office. The head teacher apologized for what has been happening and explained to her that they've been suspecting Miss Abebi for a while, but they needed evidence, and here is the evidence. And they showed her the clip. Miss Abebi wished the floor could open and swallow her to save her from the shame. It became clear that she was indeed consuming the students' food, and she admitted. That night, Mrs. Abiola shared her experience with other parents in the school's WhatsApp group, and soon stories flooded in. Other parents recalled noticing their children's lunches had been strangely emptied, though they had always assumed it was just their kids eating more than usual. A meeting was scheduled with other parents, and it became clear that Miss Abebi had crossed the line. She had, without a doubt, been consuming her students' food for months. What started as a few harmless bites had escalated into a full-blown lunchtime theft. Mrs. Abebi was called into a meeting with Mrs. Okafor and the school's management. She admitted to her hunger-driven behavior, apologizing profusely and claiming that she didn't intend to harm anyone. She simply couldn't resist the delicious food the children brought, and she said, "It's just that I never have enough time to prepare food for myself. And you know how it is. The food was always so tempting," she explained, almost sheepishly. The parents were not amused, and they said, "Your job is to teach our children, not eat their lunch," one father shouted. Despite her apology, Mrs. Abebi was dismissed. Mrs. Okafor mentioned how disappointed she was in Miss Abebi. She said, "And in fact, I am so surprised because you are well paid. You get a lot of bonuses from the school because you are always one of the best teachers. So I'm surprised at this your attitude." And the school promised to tighten its lunch monitoring procedures and ensure something like this would never happen again. Mrs. Abiola was vocal in ensuring that the issue was handled publicly, and eventually other schools in the area were made aware. Miss Abebi was blacklisted. She got home on that particular day and was wailing seriously, blaming her parents for not cautioning her as a young child when she would eat things that didn't belong to her. Her parents were too sad to talk. Unfortunately, Auntie Ade was around. She came visiting, so she witnessed everything. Auntie Ade said, "Brother Mi, I warned you, didn't I? Now you see what you've done to your daughter. The next thing is for us to find a solution to the problem on ground." She advised her to start a catering business, and because obviously nobody would want to employ you as a teacher because of your past record. And so she listened to her advice and she started a small catering business. She took it as a point of duty to curb her appetite. In the end, it was a lesson for everyone that teachers should nurture, not feast on the students they care for. And parents, no matter how well-meaning, must always be vigilant when it comes to the safety and well-being of their children. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like this video, and I'll see you in another one. Bye.